Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Arsenal Way podcast with me, Samrid, and of course, I'm Ashwin. We're a brand new Arsenal channel focused on talking about Arsenal. We're two passionate gooners from India. We're present on pretty much all social channels. We're on Twitter at the Arsenal Way. We have a Facebook page at the Arsenal Way, and of course on YouTube, where of course you find all of our videos. So please click the subscribe button, click the notification icon as well to get notified whenever we put out a new video, and of course spread the word to all your Arsenal fans, non-Arsenal fans as well, to help us grow. And yeah, going moving on to an incredible week from the downer that was the Spurs result last weekend, to our sixth final in 7 years, Ashwin, after a very convincing performance yesterday over City, which I think sort of the blueprint of which I think was established in the Liverpool game. But I think barring the first few initial minutes where we thought Mustafi had one of his fades. Um, a very convincing win yesterday. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised. I don't think you and I expected very much from both Liverpool game or this game, but we've come away with flying colours, and now we have a trophy to play for in this extended season.
You're right. None of us, I mean, both of us spoke about it on the previous pod, also the one before the Liverpool game where we spoke, and we said that there's absolutely no hope that we're coming through these two games with anything. And to come out with two wins from these two games have been nothing but fantastic. The game against Liverpool, sure, it led from two Liverpool mistakes, but then we were there. We caused those mistakes. So you have to give props to Arteta for pushing and for pressing teams like the way we never did in the past. And the City game was like the absolute blueprint. I still remember in 2015 when we had that game against City at the Etihad when Santi Cazorla was man of the match. I mean, that was the blueprint everybody was talking about, that Arsenal should set out and use for every game against every big team, because that was the perfect example of playing beautiful football, but at the same time being able to defend and taking the pressure and hitting them on the break. And that's exactly what we did with Arteta as well yesterday. It wasn't. I was watching an interview that Van Persie and Rio did on BT for the game in the UK, and even though it looked like we were just sitting back, it wasn't that at all. We were very confident on the ball. We knew when to press. We knew when to sit back. It wasn't a Jose Mourinho type football where he only sits back and defends. Uh, because when we had the ball, we were good on the ball. We took our chances, and we took our chances too. I mean, there was a stat that I read over the two games against Liverpool and City. I think we had like 7 shots on goal or 6 shots on goal, and we have 4 goals in that space, right? So it's good that the strikers are firing, but uh, can't can't shake away from the fact that the whole team was fantastic yesterday. Our defense, our midfield, even the forwards, they pressed everybody. I can't. I just don't have words for what we've seen in the last 1 week. It was a fantastic 1 week that we've had.
Yeah, you're right. Looking back at the City game yesterday, I was a little surprised when the lineup came out to see Ainsley playing, but um, I don't know why I was surprised. Just the way Arteta has been dealing with the team, handling players. We've seen improvements in in players who were written off pretty much. Um, Ainsley had a fantastic game again, and he hasn't put a foot wrong whenever he's been called on to do a job. Tierney was excellent down the left. Mahrez, I think, had one chance in the first half. In the second half, that was again superbly saved by Martinez, who had again a fantastic game. Belden had a fantastic game. I think he's shaken off his post lockdown rusty phase that he was in. Um, Luis, who's been castigated from the City game onwards, from The sending off to the penalty to being awarded a new contract to everything else that's gone around him stood up um, like stood up like the true leader that Arteta expects him to be. Um, it was to a man yesterday. We were uh, faultless. I don't think. I don't think there's anybody who I can pick that I would say didn't do a job. I thought everybody did a fantastic job. Um, Oba is often accused of not scoring in big games against big teams. Now he's got two two goals that are leading us to our 21st final, I think, FACup final, and the chance to win the 14th trophy, 14th F time, be the winners, and to have like it just shows the difference between an Oba versus any other striker, that level to put missed chances behind and then suddenly just come back and take the chance. Like I think there was a difference about 2.5 minutes between the shot when he between the first chance when he shot straight at Edison to the cross from Pepe, who again had a brilliant game. Um, 17 goals and assists involvements for the season. Oba with 25 for the season. But the first goal, 18 passes to have. Honestly, when the first goal went in, the way we were passing at the back, I didn't think. I thought that we're calling for trouble, the way that we were playing. But no, I mean, we were comfortable yesterday. It was, and I guess credit should definitely go to Arteta because I think we have a coach who's not only improving players, but is there is now a structure that he can build from. And I really hope that the board and the decision makers are seeing that this is a guy who has a plan, who's doing things right, and there seems to be a feel good factor that wasn't there when we lost to Brighton. You and I were losing our minds after the Brighton result, and now things seem there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Europe's now suddenly looking a possibility, and as much as we hate it, we'd rather play Europa than not because of the extra funds that come in. That extra 30, 35, 40 million pounds, or whatever the amount of money that's going to come in, will help Arteta build the team that he wants. And now, like this is like if for nothing else, Ashwin, I think that, and I'm just going to give it over to you. I think I've gone on for a little bit, but this one, my final point on before I give it to you is this result yesterday, or rather the last two results, would have made a lot of clubs sit up and notice that Arteta is like there's something there. So if we don't back him, and I know he loves the club, and it's very evident he loves the club, and people also love him. But he's a coach that has his own personal ambitions, and we need to do whatever we can to retain him. And this is in just a very short phase. He's been here 6 months or 7 months, and we need to do whatever we can to back him and support him as much as possible.
I mean, that's something we have to do as a club, because you can certainly see what he's done in a short space of time. I mean, you have to understand that we've come through a very strange season where COVID stopped play for 3 months, and he joined. I think 2 months before that, he tried to steady a sinking ship. Um, and for him to come and do what he's done, beat probably two of Europe's best teams right now, in a week without having the sort of players that he wants, making do with makeshift players, and beating them is something that the board has to take notice of and say that, you know what, we back to Now Emery, let's go and back this guy as well. I'm not saying do it over one window. I don't think Arsenal have the capability of going out and spending maybe about 150, 200 million and buy about 5 or 6 players. I think they'll do it over maybe 2 or 3 different windows, like a process that they talk about. That's what Liverpool did. They bought one window, they bought a striker. One window, they went and bought a midfielder. One window, Van Dijk came in. One, and the other window, I think Allison came in. So it's going to take some time. It's going to be a few tweaks now for us to make it into top 4 before we can seriously consider anything else. But just before I move on, I wanted to talk about that first goal that we scored yesterday. No disrespect to Wolves beating City this year and United beating City this year when they did it on the break, But when the two of them scored against City, it was more route one football where they lumped it over the top, and the pacey strikers and I think Adama Traore and both Rashford got onto the ball and they went and scored. It wasn't that. I think the way Arsenal played out of the back, and you're right, when that happened the first time, I think it was Bellerin and Danny Ceballos that made that mistake, giving the ball away to Sterling. But it's something that we've seen under Unai Emery, and we struggled under him so much doing that, playing out of the back. I mean, his intentions were right. Uh, Against City, hoofing the ball up is not the best option because you know they're going to invariably win the ball within the first time or the second time they're going to win the ball. So doing that was not the right thing. So Arteta knew that we had to play the ball around, just make sure that whoever has the ball, there's options around him, and you could see that. I think 10 players were involved in the goal yesterday. Ainsley was the only one that didn't touch the ball, that went from back to front. And you could see how comfortable we were on the ball. And as soon as that chance, that just the chance before that Aubameyang missed, you could see that when that happened, uh, it did put it did settle the nerves a little bit. City were dominating before that. I mean, they didn't do a lot much, but we nullified them a lot. But City were dominating the possession, they were dominating the ball. And after that chance and after that goal, you saw a period where the possession went back to 50-50 for a 10 or 15-minute period. When Arsenal came back, they were passing the ball much better with more confidence because now you had that goal. So that's what a goal does. Um, it's about giving respect to the opposition, which we did very well yesterday, knowing that City is far superior to us. But at the same time, not backing down and going for a draw or just shutting them out, but actually going for it when we had the ball. So credit to Arteta for his playing 11, for his subs. You and me we've criticized his playing 11 at times. We've criticized his subs at times, not at the right time. But of the past week, I think what's the only downer is that the game against Spurs, we should have had that one in the bag as well. Had we won that, it would have been Spurs, Liverpool, City in a space of 10 days, and that would have probably been the best period ever. Not let's not forget. I think there was a game before that was against Leicester as well, where we had no chance and where we actually dominated. That was one as well. It was a 1-1 draw, but we should have probably won that game as well. So it would have been four good results, and these are not four small teams. These are four teams well above us, four teams in in a process or in a state which is far more advanced than where we are right now. And for us to do well against them, and is just a great thing for next season. Like I'm looking forward to it. There was a time during last year when Unai Emery was manager when I didn't want to watch football anymore. There was a time when I was like, I can't do this anymore. But that feeling of loving the Arsenal is coming back again. That feeling of wanting to watch and hoping again, has come back again. It's going to be a tough final for us. I know before the game yesterday, everybody wanted Arsenal to beat City, at least the Chelsea and United fans, because they thought that beating Arsenal is obviously easier than beating City. But you're right. After those two wins, everybody's going to take notice of Arsenal, and fair play to Arteta, man. Like he's turned it around without having anything. He's shown that with the players that he's had, he can show improvements in them, and it's just been wonderful. Before I move on to the next segment, just want to ask you, who would you prefer to play in this FA Cup final?
Uh, at this point, I would pick either because I think Arteta will set us up in a manner that um, makes at least me as a fan confident against either of these clubs. I would love for us to beat Chelsea and take some revenge from last year's defeat in the Europa Cup final. Um, I would also, on the same hand, love for us to beat United and have United fans stop singing "Ole Zaduvil" and of a bus that will probably end up crashing. Um, I would love for us to beat either, and it's going to be very very satisfying because I genuinely don't like either club. Uh, I have no preference. I would be just as happy. I would. I mean, if we have managed to win the final, I would. I mean, I would just be genuinely ecstatic for Arteta to have won a trophy in his first 7 months. And as you very rightly said, from where we were to this having gotten bored of watching Emery play negative football to Arteta coming in at a stage where we were nowhere as a club. We were drifting um, to an improvement in. I don't think anybody foresaw. Like everybody talked about Arteta being the man, being knowledgeable about players and man management, and having all these great tactical ideas. But to finally see something concrete, not to say that he's not going to make mistakes. I think, of course, that's going to happen. But to see that come to fruition is very exciting for us. I think, given if he's given the tools in the coming season and the season after that, we're in a very good spot with a very exciting young manager who we've who we hated as a player when he was at Everton, but we loved him when he was at Arsenal. To now being manager, he's what there are these memories of Wenger as well there, where some of our playing style is very reminiscent of that. The doggedness that he's learned, that Arteta has brought into the team, I think is from Pep as well. And next season is going to be fantastic. Imagine the likes of Bielsa, who Pep learned from, and now Arteta, who's learned from Pep, and those three guys going at each other. Bielsa going against Klopp and Bielsa going against Mourinho. It's going to be fantastic next season. I can't wait for us to see what we do. And look, irrespective of whatever happens in the final, um, I really hope we have the tools to we give him the tools to succeed here. So yeah.
Just before I move on, I would say that I think playing Chelsea would be a little easier right now than United, because United's form right now since the lockdown has been phenomenal, both with Pogba and Bruno Fernandes.
Silva, yeah, Bruno
Bruno
Fernandes, yeah.
Fernandes. Yeah, they both been fantastic, and like Bruno Fernandes has been like he's completely energized the side, and he's completely changed the fortunes of the side. So, I mean, Ole has managed to find a perfect lineup, a perfect team that he's not being able to shift. I mean, he doesn't need to shift. I mean, and they're doing really well. So I would say Chelsea technically would be a little easier than United to play in the finals, but then again, like to win the finals, you have to beat some of the best teams, and I wouldn't care if it was either United or Chelsea, because it would be great games. Um,
I mean,
just
we've beaten them in the past. Like
we beat them in the
we beat
past.
City. We've beaten like big teams in the past to
We have,
get
we
to
have.
win the trophy. So it's not like we're I think we're not going to be overawed by it.
So quickly,
And plus we've have some
yes or no answer. Are we going to win the final?
just off of yesterday, I think yes. I
Uh,
think this is it's going to be fantastic for us to for Arteta more than anyone to lift that trophy.
All right, great. We have a final two Premier League games to go. Still, we could potentially get Europa League if things work out for us from the league without winning the FA Cup. We have Aston Villa at Villa Park on Tuesday, and our final game is at Watford on the weekend. So Aston Villa, how do you think it's going to be? Do you think Arteta is going to rest some players now that he knows we made the finals? Does he think that we still have a chance to make Europa from the league? How's he going to line up, and what do you think will happen in that game?
Look,
Sorry, don't forget, Aston
I
Villa
think
and both Watford are fighting for their lives, so it's not going to be an easy game.
like I think we've spoken about this in the past as well. I think how these teams play will be dependent on what's happening in and around them. If Watford are safe by the time we play them on Sunday, I think.
They're going to be on like Cartley
Uh,
Wood.
yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think Villa both, and they're not going to be easy games because assuming if the relegation goes on to the last day, if Bournemouth win today, I think it will be difficult. Like Watford are really going to come out because I think there's a 3 point gap or a 5 point gap between Bournemouth and Watford. Villa are already, I think, in 19th. I think they need to win both their games to even stand a chance of qualifying. Remaining in the Premier League. Um, I mean, I know we can talk about the Watford game after when we speak again, but I think the Villa game is going to be tough there. they're a beatable squad. It's not like that they're not beatable. And I think they're there for the taking. Arteta knows that we need to win to have at least both avenues open. So I think that is something there that he will try and find holes in, and he's smart enough to know what where the weaknesses are. Grealish is the only guy who I think is we should ideally be worried about because he has good games against us, or if he doesn't, he at least he's the kind of player who's had a season where he's been creating problems for opposition players. Which is why he's being talked about, linked with us, linked with the likes of United and some of the other bigger clubs in the league. Uh, but yeah, I expect Villa to be up for the game because they're also fighting for their lives and we're also fighting for uh, to get into the top seven. So it's gonna be an interesting game.
Like discussed, we've had two really tough games against Liverpool and City where we've been with in both the games where we've been without the ball and we've like had to run around a lot. So you could see like tired legs, tired minds towards the end of the game. I think towards the end, Aubameyang was completely done. You could see Tierney cramping up. You could see Ainsley cramping up. I think Mustafi pulled a hamstring as well. So there are going to be changes. He is going to bring in. He is going to bring the changes. Do you think it's a good opportunity to rest some of the big players like your Aubameyangs? Like I know Saka didn't play, but Saka can come in. But maybe give Aubameyang a rest. Maybe give Xhaka a rest. Something like that. Is it possible?
I don't think he'll make too many changes. I think he'd like to stick with the spine that he has because he knows these are important games, and we have a week's rest before after the Watford game. I think there's a 4-day gap as well between the Villa game and the Watford game. Yeah, so do we play Tuesday night? Do we play Wednesday night? I think
We
we
play Tuesday
play
night.
Tuesday night. We have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have 4 days. I think he'll have pretty much the same team. Give the guys a rest, and then come back against Watford. But you're right. There is a possibility that he might have Saka playing at left back, or Kolasinac might start. Um, Holding might get a game. Torreira is also chomping at the bits to start. I think Eddie will be back as well because I think he's done with his 3-game ban. So
Yeah.
that's an option as well. So even if Lacazette stops or like doesn't play, or if Auba doesn't play, we have Eddie as well on the bench. So there are options available to Arteta. I think it'll come down to how tired we are, but I won't expect too many change. I think the spine will still remain the same.
Spine remains the same. Okay, all right. And predictions for the game then?
Oh, I think we'll beat Villa. There's a reason why they're 19th. Had I think similar reasons to worry about how we do against Norwich.
Mm.
And I'm sure Arteta is the kind of manager who would have told a squad that, look, we're done with City. Let's now focus on the league, and this is something that we have to get out of our way. And he's always talked about taking it game by game. He will let the players know about the importance of the Villa game. Um, so yeah, I think we will be up for it because we know we need to win, and I think we probably will win that game.
And by what is the scoreline we'll win by?
I'm expecting us to win by a couple at least.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So just before we end the pod, have to again give a shout out to the whole team and the manager yesterday for what we did against City. It was a fantastic win, and again, like, I know you mentioned it. David Luiz got a lot of flack uh, for his performance against City when the restart happened, and ever since. But yesterday he was amazing. He was there everywhere. I think he won every single header that he contested for, and made some amazing blocks. I can remember that one block in the second half against Raheem Sterling that he did, which was fantastic as well. And let's not forget two of our midfielders who've been criticized for a very long time. I think Granit Xhaka, it started off very poorly for him this season, where he had that whole altercation with the fans, threw off the armband,
He
and
was there for every cutback that was there.
exactly like the way he read the
Yeah.
game yesterday, and even someone like Dani Ceballos, who both you and me are not big fans of, but the way Ceballos has managed to play in the last 3 games, it seems like now they're talking about a 20 million, not even a pound, 20 million euro fee for Ceballos to make it permanent. And the way he's played, if you can, I think it's something that we should be looking at doing, either extending him for another year for a loan or either getting him, because Ceballos has been phenomenal. it's something like we didn't expect. Where when Santi Cazorla and Coquelin were that unlikely partnership that gelled really well together, it's something like that that's seeming to be forming between Xhaka and Ceballos, and 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 the important thing is in games like this where you need somebody to hold the ball and take the pressure off. I think Ceballos does that really well. Uh, I know you and me criticized him a lot for spinning and turning and making those mistakes, but yesterday he was phenomenal, and he's been like that since
He's
maybe
been like
about
that since
yeah
for a few games now.
for
Yeah.
a few games now. So yeah, props to everybody, tens for everybody, even for Arteta, and let's just hope that we finish off the season strongly. We have 3 games to go. With the the last game being the most important. We'll find out who we're going to play today. So it's just going to be it's great. It's a great feeling when when you can watch a football game knowing that you've done your job and now you're just going to sit and watch the two other guys compete for it and see who you're going to play in the final. It's going to be an enjoyable one. So I was hoping for a good 3 final games for us, and we will all see you post the Villa game. Thanks for joining in, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Ashwin.